So welcome to this episode of Rumble. I have, sometimes I say this or sometimes I say it when I shouldn't, which is, today I have an unusual guest. I often start like that. But today, believe me, he is an unusual kind of character that I have as my guest today. Hardly anybody with a police background ever comes up in front of the public eye. But here we have a man who was a policeman, not a policeman now, but continuing in that line of work as a civilian. I can't call him an inspector. I'm going to just stick to Mr. So welcome to the show, Mr. Guna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm happy to be here.
I am truly intrigued because very rarely do people in the police force ever come up and give an interview. Of course, you're not in the police force, as I made very clear.
I wanted to clear it. I'm not in the police force today.
Yeah, but you started from there.
Yeah, but my interest is policing. Policing was my dream job. My friend Prem and myself, we wanted to be a police officer one day. Okay. We wanted to be IPS
We hear this dialogue quite often in the movies. I want to be a policeman. My father was a policeman. My uncle was a policeman. Did you have anybody in your family in the police?
No, definitely no. My family, my father was a professor, but my grandfather was a smuggler.
Oh.
So we are against police over a period of time.
So how did the transformation happen?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you. I'm coming from a very, very remote village called, my family, it's a place called Kodiyambalayam. Okay. It's an island in near Chidambaram.
Okay.
So it's an ideal place for smuggling.
So where would these goods be smuggled from?
Those days, it is not happening nowadays. Those days it was happening from Sri Lanka.
Right.
At the time of
Malaysia,
British,
Singapore, those kind of...
No, mostly from Sri Lanka. Mostly from Sri Lanka.
Okay.
At the time of those days, when my grandfather was, the smuggling was supported by the patriots.
Okay.
So it is against the British rule.
So it's a patriotic act, almost.
I'm not really sure, but it was.
Okay.
It was. I think it was.
And what was being smuggled?
My father was, briefly told me about some products because he was not involved, but he was telling me what was happening. Okay. Sometimes some kind of a drug, sometimes silk, and a few...
goods to buy and sell, basically. Make profit.
Make more profit.
Okay.
Make more profit.
And from those days, you lived, or the family left Chidambaram and those parts?
My father was a professor. Over a period of time, 1967 or something, my father became a professor. And then he was there in various colleges in Tamil Nadu. He got a government job.
What was his subject?
He was a Tamil literature professor.
Okay. So how did you get into this? How did it interest you when you said it's been my childhood dream?
My father was a good sportsman. He was he was a good sportsman. At the same time, he was in Annamalai University. He did all his sports things very, very good.
Good athlete.
Yeah, very, very good. He was a badminton team captain. He was a good athlete, and it was really doing good. When he went to police selection, I think 1967, he got selected, but since he was a son of a smuggler, he was rejected from police job.
What do you mean? People walk around with a sign saying smuggler? How did they know he was the son of a smuggler?
Because, the police got...
they keep a track?
I don't want to keep a track. They have records about the people and family.
Okay.
Even today in policing, they have family histories. There is a system called crime record. So they got all the names in the...
Is it true that most people will have a record somewhere in police stations?
It is not for every people. It happens to some
So if
people.
you have a history of that, then maybe they'll track you.
Yeah, they'll stop you. They'll stop you to get into those kind of a process.
Oh, I see. Okay.
This happened on those days. All I'm not really sure today.
Okay.
But today, and my knowledge, if that individual got any offense or any crime, they may be stopped, but not everyone.
Okay.
So it is not the family one. But my father was stopped because of the family.
All right. But in a way, it's good that he got stopped because he went into something which is more acceptable.
So my father and myself, we always thought, someone should get into police and do things. Okay. But originally my ambition was I wanted to be an IPS officer. I was writing my civil service examination. For that reason, I joined in Madras University to prepare for those exams. Yeah. But in between, I got this job. I joined in the force, and then that was slowed down. The joining an IPS force, that was slowed down. At the same time, I gave my mains, but I couldn't really go to the next level.
Okay. So you just put it on hold.
It was not on a hold. I tried. Unfortunately, I couldn't go to the next level.
Okay.
But in between, I got the police job. So it's a police job. So I started doing it. Okay. I started enjoying it. I started doing some research about it. But the day one, I joined in police force. I started doing research about how policing operates, how the police system operates, how the policemen operates, what is happening to people who come to the police station, what is happening to the system. So I just wanted to know about it. So that was my curiosity on those days. When I started my training, I started talking to my fellow trainers, fellow trainees as well as the trainers. What is happening? What is in their mind? What's they're looking for? So that's how my interest on policing started.
Very interesting. You told me that that the whole foundation of the police force in India came from the British era when the
I can even tell you how the police history arrived in India.
Yeah.
It started in India. When the East Indian Company came into India in 1700s, they started small organizations like police organization, which they wanted to support. They wanted to protect their property. They wanted to protect their family members. That's the reason they started a small organization. They gave them
private security force.
It's like a private security force. It is not a private security force. Usually, when you start a private security force, you need the regulations. But this comes under the India in those days. Those regulations were not there. So they gave them weapon. They gave them the marching training. They gave them few basic training to make a small system.
How to march, how to walk in a line.
That's right. How to march and how to walk in a line. It's a kind of a very basic moves. Over a period of time, this force with a weapon, naturally powerful force.
Yes.
In those 1700s, Indians were not really organized. So these forces helped them to annex territories in the places. These people were called police and they were used as a military. It's like a semi-military police.
Right. They transformed their function itself.
Yes. They used them whatever the method they wanted to use them.
Okay.
So it happened over a period of time. So let me come to the point again. In 1857, the Queen's Proclamation Act was pronounced. And the Queen Victoria annexed the whole of India under the British crown.
Sitting in London many thousand miles away.
That's fantastic. She did it from there. Yeah. That's really fantastic. What happened over a period of time? This police force, the security force, transferred to the Raj. This Raj, they become Raj police. They become the colonial police. They started working for the masters. Previously, they were working for the company masters.
Okay,
today,
guys, that's fantastic. I mean, how many of you ever wondered how did the police force originate? This is how it originated. Private force to look after personal wealth, and then you manipulated and used by the British to annex other people's property, this, that, and the other. Then comes a declaration of this being a dominion, becoming an Indian part of the empire, and then the story goes on after that, which means that they now become a legitimate force. We'll find more about this fascinating transition from him as we go along. Hang in there. So we stop with being told that the Indian police force originated being a private force. So how did it become the police force as we know it today? Let's hear more of that fascinating story from him. So continue on that history.
Yes, I wanted to continue from there. When British Raj annexed the police force, they started serving for the masters again, the same way how they were serving for the East Indian Company. But in 1947, we got independence. The role of the police is not changed, but
it ought to have changed, but it didn't change.
Yes, but the masters were changed. Okay. The masters were here.
So that continued in the same way?
Yes.
All right.
Here, the masters were the political leaders. The political leaders.
Okay.
They started serving for the political leaders. They started serving for the people who are in power. like who were in the top
in a
office.
way, it was a continuation of the old British thing where they were
Yes.
in power. Now
Yeah.
the politician in power, so they're just
Yes.
serving the new master.
Yes, but it should serve the public, the people. But we are here missing here. We are missing that link here.
The public service is still not effective.
Yes, but over a period of time, Indian police become Indian police service today. They started calling Indian police service, but the service is missing. So we are worried about that today.
It's almost like a feudal army even now.
Yes, it's a semi-military force.
Okay.
And even so, you see, when I went to London, when I went to America, when I went to Australia, I saw the police force is to help public. They don't use weapon to deal with people. Here we use weapon to deal with
Forced to
people.
control the people whom they're supposed to serve.
Yes. Metropolitan police officers on the field, they doesn't have weapon. They don't have lathis. They don't have pistol or any weapon. So
They have a whistle.
Yeah, they have a whistle. They at the same time, when someone comes for a help, they try to go help them to the maximum extent what they can do, and then they try to solve their problem.
So
Because
IPS, which stands for Indian Police Service, should actually be Indian Public Service, almost the same IPS.
it's public service.
They're supposed to. That's the way they ought to have functioned.
yeah, see, any service through the government is a service to the public.
That's true.
Here, especially on the police force, it is not reaching the public. That's what my conclusion is today.
Okay. Do they expect the public to serve them or no?
Sometimes it happens. So
Yes.
when I started serving in the police force, I noticed this, and also some of the local public, they come and help the people in the police station. They do so many services. Sometimes they force people to do some service.
Almost
I have few examples as well.
Okay, let's hear a few.
So sometimes local people from the local community, they come and clean the toilets. The local people come and
Is it out of the spirit of wanting to do good things, or is it the policeman is saying that, hey, come clean the toilet?
sometimes they do it.
They're
The
forcing them.
local the toilet cleaner are forced to come and clean the toilet, but they don't pay them.
Or maybe low down criminals are also used for these kinds
Sometimes they do that. But unfortunately, I can't give all the evidence.
I understand. Yeah.
So if I state those things, I
Maybe
need to
doing
give
nothing but accounting that.
I need to
I know.
prove it.
Yeah, I know.
But it's very easy to prove it. If you randomly go into any police station, you can see someone is cleaning something there.
It's not that anybody inculcated these ideas into them. It's just a continuation of how it was when the Brits were there.
Yes.
And that just kept going through.
We can put it in that way. It's a colonial police continuation.
Okay. The mindset is still the same.
Yes. The masters, we work for the masters. We don't work for the people.
Okay. And this has been continuing since you've been...
Yes,
observing-
that's what I feel.
So that's the starkest difference between a police force abroad in progressive nations and what is happening in India.
Yes.
That the masters are different.
Yes. I don't know how to answer this one. This is happening here. If I talk about the Western force,
Yeah.
whatever you do, you're paid.
Yeah.
So if somebody is coming and helping you, they'll be paid. Here in our police force, our thing, we take so many free services from the public. We take so many gratitudes from people. So, for example, when I started working in the police station, there were not many sufficient chairs to accommodate people, even accommodate the police officers. So people from the local community, they buy and give it to...
Donate it almost like a donation, but it's being forced.
They say it is donation.
I can understand.
But most of the time, the police officers go and negotiate with them to bring stuff to the police station.
Yeah, it's like...
You can say it's a donation. It is not a donation at all.
I know. Like in the British Army, they used to say, we need 4 volunteers. You, and you.
Same.
Step forward.
Same.
That's not volunteering. You are being forced to do it. So this is similar lines.
Yeah, and if you jump into the police administration and see things, we need lots and lots of money to run the police organization. Unfortunately, we don't have that much money. We are not allocating that much money to the system. We do so many activities, so many programs and projects. Unfortunately, that money doesn't really flows into the bottom layer of the system.
Is it corruption along the way, or is it just insufficient?
I really wanted to say it's insufficient. At the same time, the planning is not really there. If you, and the best example is we have so many police jeeps today.
Yeah.
Most of the police jeeps were used by the officials, not for the
Policing job.
Not for the policing job. This is the best example. And then we have so many cameras in police departments.
Yes.
Unfortunately, these cameras were fit into police training colleges and few places, which is not required at all. So we need camera where we need camera. Unfortunately, since we have cameras, we fit into places we don't need at all.
That's true.
So this is a kind of a policy confusion we have today. So that's my,
Okay, so the obvious thing one would think in a situation like this is, who is in control? Let's find out if there's any one particular person in control, or is it just running by itself, like mystery? So we were talking about change must come. Change must come. I wouldn't say we were talking about it, but everybody knows change must come. So in your opinion, with having been on the inside and on the outside, now, do you think change can be imposed, or does change have to percolate and develop on its own with no guidance?
The change, it's very important thing for this particular situation. We need change. We want change. Everyone wants change. How it is going to happen?
Yes.
That's a matter. That's really a matter here. The change. So who is going to bring the change here? Who is going to accept the change here?
Correct.
There is a philosophy, in policy making, the top-down model and bottoms-up approach.
Yes.
These two things we need to take it into account. If somebody is forcing the change from the top, if there is a resistance at the bottom, it is not going to happen. How strong they are, that really matters.
Okay.
If they're not really strong, the change is not going to happen. But again, the bottoms up. If the willing is not there, you can't pump it up. You can't pump the change up. When the willing is there, it will easily, flow through the whole system and change the whole system. We want bottoms up as well as,
Okay, if I put you into a difficult position and say, where do you think the resistance exists? More at the bottom or more at the top? A reluctance to use their power at the top, or is it opposition from below?
We already spoke about this system. This system is a colonial remnants.
Okay.
When you see colonial remnants,
so the top down is always more powerful.
The top is so powerful. True. You can't control it.
It was the British Empire versus the ordinary man on the road.
The top is so powerful.
True.
And bottom is also powerful. But this power, the bottom power, it damages the public. The top power, it damages the public as well as the bottom layer of the system.
Okay.
So this is my answer.
Tough call, in the sense that it's very difficult to bring in change. So if the change that you look for, or which you are now studying, which is happening in other countries, that sort of change, it's more of a mindset than policing. It seems like you are looking for younger policemen to appreciate that he is holding a very critical position in the future of our country. And that's the kind of thinking that has to go into the rock bottom policeman.
I really wanted to say something here. I don't really wanted to say, this people or the people who join the police force think that I'm an Indian. You don't need to. It doesn't really need to think like that.
Okay.
We need a simple person to come into the system to help the people. That's it. It's like a yoga. You just come into the system, whatever you can help the people and get out.
Okay.
At the same time, don't think that you are the one running the system. Don't think that you are the one going to rule the system. You are the one going to change the system. You do whatever you can.
You're the one, because of you, the system is working.
Yeah, no. That's the wrong attitude.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this is happening a lot in police. This is happening.
They think we are the ones.
We. Even very recently, I've seen a WhatsApp clipping a police officer was, demanding and threatening the police officers, saying that whoever talks against police need to be in jail. It's a kind of a wrong thing.
Okay.
In my perception, it's
a wrong
thing.
message going out.
Yeah, in my perception, it is wrong. People have right to complain about police. People have right to complain about their problem. So if you're going to stop them not to complain, you're going to do wrong things. Thomas Hobbes, he says, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Yes. This is what's happening today. We need to allow people to talk. We need to allow people to, share their opinion.
So does the Indian police service, let's call it the police service, does the police service have a system where these kind of thoughts can be aired without anybody?
Naturally.
Do you have a system? Where...
We have a system. We have a system. Unfortunately, the system is dominated by the
ones who don't want it to succeed.
That is dominated by the traditional system. Okay. Dominated by the system. I wanted to identify a philosophy here. It's called rotten apple and rotten barrel.
Okay.
The rotten apple. The system is slightly corrupt. I just wanted to say slightly corrupt. And then when new officers who come here, they are fresh apple. If you put a rotten the fresh apple in a rotten barrel, it'll get spoiled. But if the barrel is a clean one, if you put a rotten apple into the clean one and with a clean apple, it is also going to damage the system.
Either way, it's going to
is going to damage the system. This is what's happening at the moment. So we need some philosophical understanding about the system to clean this system.
Is cinema a good message?
Wow.
A good.
I like this question. Actually, I like this question. I really wanted to answer this question. Cinema is cinema. Try to understand. Cinema is cinema. If you're going to see Rajinikanth or Kamal Haasan as a model police officer, you are doing wrong.
Okay.
And there are so many movies advocates encounter killing.
Yes.
Encounter killing is a wrong thing.
Absolutely.
It is pronounced as a wrong thing to the by the Bombay High Court. Yes. And then there are so many police officers were behind the bar today. So it's all whatever the cinema is showing today is not the right model.
So the censor board needs to get his act together and stop showing all these.
No, let them show. Let them show. What's your problem? Let them show.
But then
don't get carried away. Don't get influenced by this.
Okay.
So you get your mind clear. When you take your son and daughter to this kind of a movie, tell them this is a movie. Don't tell them that this is life.
Okay, yeah, that's true. So do you think we should have more interactions between the lay public and police stations, police people? Should they go into police station once in a while?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I really wanted to emphasize here, we really need a good relation between public and police officers. In Tamil Nadu police and the Indian police officers, they really do some measures to bridge this gap. There are so many organizations, they work for that. Unfortunately, this is not really reaching that level.
But you work harder at it.
No, again, let me go back to the history. It's a colonial system. When it is a colonial system, the native Indians doesn't want to approach police. Going to police is a sinful thing. The going to police is a wrongful thing for the community. But the same attitude is still continuing. But the laymen today, they need lots and lots of police assistance today. Lots and lots of police assistance. Unfortunately, the police officers are overworked. They don't have much time to support these people.
All these kind of good activities are just not being encouraged.
Not really reaching the right destination.
Fantastic. So thanks, Muthu, for coming.
Oh, welcome so much.
Talking to you.
Welcome.
I know we can talk for days on this subject.
Naturally.
It's a subject that's close to everybody's heart. Somebody or the other has got into problems with the police, rightfully, wrongfully, whatever it is. But I really hope that yes, the common man's relation with the police, it ought to be more friendly than it is today. Today it's adversarial.
That's our objective.
Thank you for coming.
Welcome so much.